It's not possible to have faith in God and still be fearful. Most times we don't doubt that God is able to work, but we're not certain what God will choose to do or when he will choose to do it. Trust in his timing. We think about our circumstances and come up with an idea of how God could make things better. The problem is we're often wrong. It's important to understand why God tells us not to be afraid. It's not because what we are facing is easy, but God tells us that the world will have trials. It is a certainty. John 16:33. God tells us to fear not because he goes through the trials with us. He is there no matter what we are facing. Psalm 46 verse 1-3. But we need to dwell on God's truth and his character. Remember the following. Number 1, God promises to never leave you. Deuteronomy 31:6. Number 2, God is not surprised by our circumstances. He knows everything. His only begotten son Jesus was crucified and he didn't stop the killing. Number 3, God works out the circumstances for your good. Romans 8:25. Number 4, God is bigger than whatever you fear. Number 5, remind yourself of all that God has done for you. This is nothing compared to that. Number 6, accept the fact that you will go through difficult times. The truth is, when we are facing difficult situations that we don't understand, one of the best things we can do is to trust God. God's faithfulness is not tied to you. It is who he is. 2 Timothy 2:13 says, if we are unfaithful, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny who he is. Grow in your knowledge of God. For a lot of us, it is easier to trust God when things are rosy and blooming. When things get tough, we give in. God is so much reliable than even your most trusted friend. Talking to God when things are difficult is a sign that you trust him. Jesus was overwhelmed with what was before him in Mark 4:34-36. He told his disciples that his soul is crushed, overwhelmed with grief to the point of death. He went a little further and fell to the ground and prayed that the awful hour awaiting him will pass. This is Jesus, the Son of God. Most of the times we have spoken to every other person before we come to God. God cares about how you feel. I end with this. Talk with God. No breath is lost. Walk with God. No strength is lost. Wait for God. No time is lost. Trust in God. You will never be lost.